Let's bring in a Boeing shareholder now for more on what's at stake and the impact on the stock. Tony Bancroft is a portfolio manager at Gabelli Funds. Boeing is the #1 position in his Gabelli Commercial Aerospace and Defense ETF. Tony, welcome back. Good to have you with us. What about what Senator Blumenthal says? That is that Boeing isn't doing enough fast enough to satisfy both the American public and the flying public.
Thanks, Tyler. It's great to be back.
Nice
I think, Boeing's in a tough spot. I think Boeing's there today to show their commitment to transparency, and they're changing their culture. They've implemented a lot of changes that have been approved by the FAA, and they're doing it. But I think, just like Phil said, I think that essentially Boeing needs to do.
Do you know of anything they could be doing faster or better, or is, again, I mean, if a senator can't point to something specific and just say, well, you're not doing it fast enough, I don't know how helpful that is.
I'm pretty sure that what happened on January 5th, with those bolts, that's never going to happen again on a Boeing aircraft. I'm pretty sure that's a guarantee.
That was where the door imploded or blew out.
The door.
I'm sure, but a lot of investors and the flying public are thinking, but something else could happen because of the culture at Boeing. From a Boeing shareholder standpoint, what is the bull case? Is it just that it's a duopoly? It's just that the United States has to buy, defense from Boeing. I mean, because we've seen things just unfold time and time. Another thing, a self-inflicted wound, and it doesn't seem to relent.
Yeah, I think on the commercial side, there was after COVID, there was a lot of turnover on employment. And you've got a lot of new people learning how to build a very complex and, a lot of engineering that has to go involved in it. And so I think Boeing's dealing with that right now in a tight labor environment. And obviously, the supply chain as well is constricted. But I think long term, secular tailwinds of how many, almost 40,000 aircraft that need to be built over the next 20 years. With a rising middle class in emerging economies that all want to go fly, the experiential generation. I think those tailwinds, are essentially that thesis has not changed, and Boeing's going to be a big participant in building those planes.
How do you, Mr. Calhoun, whatever you think of him, it seems to me that he has tried to be transparent. He's tried to be responsive. He is leaving at the end of the year. What, if anything, are you hearing about people who might be on the short list to succeed him? Are they leaning more toward an internal candidate or an external candidate? What? Do you know?
I think Boeing's wish list is that they want someone that can come in and, work on the culture, hearts and minds of the employees and get Boeing sort of going in the right direction. I think they want someone with a technical background, some type of engineering, someone that can work in a plant and make operations more efficient. And there needs to be someone that can come in and usher the next generation plane. There's going to be a new aircraft eventually that's going to be replacing the 737, and they need someone that has that kind of that mindset and outlook.